Yo!
Hello! We're back.
I'm Glitch.
I'm Cakey. And this is, I'm pretty sure it's our 4th episode. Could be incorrect.
Probably. You peeking the microphone. Very good. Anyway.
So, today we are going to be talking about bands, but very specifically the fact that a lot of alternative music fans heckin' suck.
Yes. So we're alternative music fans.
Literally
exclusive, basic.
Literally every band that we like falls under the alternative thing. They vary a little bit. Like some are like, pop punk and alternative. Some are like emo and alternative. Some are like
all of those
alternative
things
pop.
are just, you don't have to say and alternative.
All
of those are types of alternative.
Well, they're all the bands we like fall under the label of alternative. And something that we've noticed from being in these fandoms for like 3 or 4 years now is that a lot...
They're objectively the worst.
A lot of alternative music fans need to like take a nap and calm down because they all suck. Okay, not all of them suck, obviously. But I'm great, no. But, there are a lot of really cool people, in these fandoms, but there are a lot of people who need to just they need to calm down, specifically in areas of just them accusing bands of suddenly turning shit for no reason and selling out and being too mainstream because they're so edgy and calling people fake fans. So this is what we will be talking about. And this, because we have very strong opinions about this. We've complained to each other about this probably for like 4 hours before. So we'll see how long this turns out being.
It's mainly prominent when bands release new music that's in a different style, like most alternative bands that we listen to at least do every single time.
It's like, if y'all have been here from like the beginning, like you all say you have been, you should have expected this.
If you've been a SellOutBoy fan since the beginning, like half of them always say they are, then you should know by now that that's just how they operate.
If you're a Panic at the Disco fan and you've been there since like 2004 or whatever.
If you've heard it.
If you've just heard it, then you know that they just jump around a lot. Y'all love Pretty Odd so much, but then they add synthesizer onto one of their songs and suddenly that's too different. They gotta calm down.
Even though the first album objectively had quite a lot of synthesizer in it.
Yeah. So starting off, alternative music fans are often, not exclusively, but are often really pretentious about their music. I used to be pretty, not really not really as much as I would have been if I was into them in middle school, but like I used to be a little pretentious.
I used to be pretty pretentious.
And
about nothing, because it was back in middle school, and I had like no personality in middle school. I don't know what I was pretentious about. I just was. I just was.
But a lot of alternative
nothing.
A lot of alternative music fans are really pretentious about their music. They're like, I only listen to real music.
And it's like, listen, you can be proud of who you are and proud to be like not super mainstream and proud to be yourself. That's totally chill, obviously.
You don't have to take a shit on everybody else for their interests, though, is the thing. Because it's like, here's the thing. Literally everyone thinks their music taste is better than everyone else's.
That's what a preference is. Of course you think music that you like is better than music that you don't like.
It's like, because your music taste is the music that you like. So of course you're gonna be like, my music taste is better than yours. Because their music taste is not music you like, and yours is what music you like.
And
that's what an opinion is. It doesn't make you cool or special because you shit on somebody else because they like different music than you. It just makes you an ass.
You can think the music you listen to is better than the music someone else listens to, because like we said before, that's what a fucking opinion is. But you don't have to act like you're better than someone else because you have different opinions.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, it doesn't matter that much whether or not you like alternative music or somebody else likes pop music, because guess what? There's nothing actually wrong with pop music.
Yeah.
I don't really like most of it, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. I might think it's bad, but that doesn't mean that someone else is some trash heap mainstream garbage human because they like most of the songs that come up on the radio, alright? It's not that big of an issue.
There's nothing morally wrong with it, so
it doesn't really matter that much. It's just music. It doesn't chill.
Just relax. Take it down. And then there's nothing wrong with a band going towards more of a, like, pop sound, like, as long as it's good.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, here's the thing. It's like, one, a slight style change doesn't mean that they've gone mainstream or that they're selling out or that they're suddenly, like, pop music now.
Yeah, it's like...
So you gotta hate them.
Every time these bands change their style, everyone's just like, it's just all pop music now. It's like, it doesn't matter how far away from pop music the thing they changed to. I'm pretty sure some of them have changed to be farther away from pop music. And people are like, it's all just pop mainstream stuff now.
Because it's like, have you heard pop music before? Maybe you haven't because you hate it so much, but just because every time someone changes their style, no matter what, it's like, they're like, oh, it's mainstream now, gotta hate them, they're selling out for them views or whatever.
Also,
it's like when Walk the Moon released their new album, most people just loved it and adored it, as they should, because it's literally the greatest thing to ever grace this, like, garbage fire of a planet. But there were still people who were like, it's so mainstream now. It's like, have you heard it? Do you want... Go listen to Sound of Awakening again, and then be like, pop music. Because it's not. Yeah. It doesn't sound anything like pop music.
Go type in Sound of Awakening, Walk the Moon into the search bar. Listen to it and say, look me in the eye and tell me to my fucking face that that's what pop music sounds like.
It's like, oh no, One Foot was on the radio like 4 times, so that means all of their new music is pop music and it's mainstream. It's like, no!
They've always... Walk the Moon is one of those bands that likes to hop around genres, not only when they change albums, just all the time, constantly, every song, constantly. It's endless.
It's what they do.
It's just how they are. They're very hard to pin down into one genre, but there've been plenty of times in the past that they've strayed into, like, the alternative pop territory. I would say that their new album is, like, less pop-ish than their other ones.
Yeah, but they all really have this very distinctive and very unique style, and, like, they use really unique instruments and stuff, but people are like, oh no, they sounds different. Guess I gotta hate it now, and it's just like, listen.
They have more production in them, which means it's pop music now. No, it doesn't.
Like, one,
that's not what it means. That's not what that word means.
It's not what it means. And then two, even if it is more pop, and even if it is, maybe if it does technically fall into pop music, that doesn't mean it's bad. If you listen to the song and you like it, or you like the band, then you don't have to say, oh, they're selling out just because they wanted to explore their territory. They're not a YouTuber who left for 3 months and came back doing clickbait Fortnite videos. Alright, they just tried something new.
Yeah, that's another thing. Just because they change their style, and if it's leaning more towards pop, doesn't mean they're selling out. Because selling out is when you change yourself, is when you change what you're doing, specifically to get money. If you change what you're doing, even if it does turn out sounding more pop or more mainstream, as long as you did it just because you felt like doing it,
or because you liked how it sounded,
you are not a sellout. That's not what that word means. Sellout does not mean becoming more mainstream. It means becoming more mainstream for money.
Yeah, it means doing something even if you, like, just because it's popular, even if you don't care about it, don't put much effort into it. You couldn't give, like, it's like you don't care at all about what you're doing or the choices that you made, and you didn't do something just because you wanted to. You did it because it will make you more famous or get you more money or whatever, and just because, and even if a band that you like that's usually alternative makes a song that sounds more pop, that doesn't mean they're selling out as long as they're doing it because they like it. So yeah, you might think that Fall Out Boy's new album is more pop, but that doesn't mean that they're
at all.
What? Yeah,
for the record.
But like, even if you think that it does sound more pop, you don't get to call them SellOutBoy because of that. Because they're doing it because they want to, and because they like how it sounds, and they're proud of their new music, not because it'll get them more views on their Vivo, alright? It's like,
I'm pretty sure they've been doing this for 16 years. I'm pretty sure, and they have like millions of fans no matter what they do. I'm pretty sure they couldn't give less of a shit about, they're already, that's another thing that really annoys me. These people are like, oh, they're selling out just to become popular. They're already plenty popular. They are millionaires. Why on earth would they bother?
Why would they change? Why would they, like, basically take the passion out of something that they love doing to get more popular when they're already Fall Out Boy? They've made it. They've done it. They don't need to cater to what'll make them more popular because they're already Fall Out Boy.
They've already succeeded doing basically the exact opposite. They're a punk band.
I don't understand why people just think that the minute a band changes their sound at all, it means that they're selling out and they're awful and they're mainstream. And then also, it's like, there's not, like, even if they are becoming more popular or whatever, it's not, that shouldn't be a bad thing. I hate it when people get so salty when their band's popular now, and I'm like, I'm gonna like throw a couple of our friends under the bus. They had this band that they liked, and they don't like them anymore because they think that their new album is like too mainstream, and they're
kind of hipsters.
They're kind of hipsters, but they think that they like, oh, they sold out, and they're now so popular because they sold out. It's just like, what? It's like, okay, sure. You're allowed to like the old stuff better, that's fine, but it doesn't mean they sold out just because they got popular. Maybe, like, it's like the stressed out thing, or the shut up and dance thing.
Yeah,
it's like, just because one of their songs got popular does not mean that they are mainstream, and it does not mean that they sold out. It's not even their fault that one song got popular. Maybe it got popular because it's good!
Yeah, that's another thing that annoys me. When people are like, oh, they're sellouts because they got popular. It's like, you know, they didn't choose for that to happen, correct?
You think Walk the Moon was like, we are genetically engineering this song so it gets played on the radio on loop for like 2 years, which, by the way, I wasn't complaining because Shut Up and Dance is a bop and a half, and just because they play it on the radio a lot does not negate that fact. But it's like, you know,
they don't
Walk the Moon got kind of annoyed that they played so much on the radio.
Yeah,
they were like, stop this.
They don't choose. Like, listen, I get that, like, there is an appeal to something that has, like, a small fandom.
Oh, definitely.
And it's, like, just some, like, you know, and you can tell it's just, like, a bunch of nerds making something out of, like, the basement. Like, there is an appeal to that. I understand that. I feel you. I get it. But, like, be a little appreciative of the fact that these people's, like, dream is coming true, and now it doesn't change. anything about the music.
If they are down to earth
Usually,
people,
I'm sure there's some people who like it goes
most
to whatever,
alternative music people, at least the bands that we like specifically, can't speak for all of them. They're all very down to earth people, and they all really are passionate about what they do and doing what they want to do. So just because they got more popular because like a couple of their songs or like their new album got played a lot more doesn't mean that they're not special, and it doesn't mean that they're too mainstream. And even if it did mean that they got more mainstream, that shouldn't, if you really like them, that shouldn't matter to you. And you should just be happy that they are being successful and that they have managed to like create something out of something that they're really passionate about, you know? It's like, they're not worse just because more people like them. It just means that more people heard their song and had that same connection with them that you do.
Yeah.
You know? I don't really see how it's like I get the appeal of things that have a small fan base, but I also don't understand why you think that it's suddenly worse just because it's not as small as it used to be.
I mean, sometimes there can be a direct correlation between the size of a fandom and how pleasant it is to interact with said fandom. Because things with small fandoms, you don't get people whining about this. Maybe because they're not popular if they have a small fandom. But you get a lot less complaining and discourse in small fandoms. But you should still... There are some big fandoms that are really nice and pleasant. And, you know, just things getting popular doesn't change anything about the thing itself. It just means more people know the thing exists.
Yeah, if the people are... more people liking their music isn't gonna change their music, and it's definitely not gonna change the music that they've already created.
The music that's got popular, because guess what? That's done. It's over. That exists. You can't change it.
So maybe just like chill out. Stop trying to bite the head off of every new person that rolls up to your precious band. And just try to, you know, enjoy their music and enjoy the fact that they're able to make a career out of something that they love doing.
Also, something, a band that was like an indie band, which by the way, is a band still an indie band if they're signed to a record label?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because it's like, I know that indie's like a band that started on their own, but I've also heard people like, which all the bands we like have started on their own, and then most of them got signed to a record label.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah.
But I've also heard people like still call those bands indie even after they've been.
I'm not 100% sure. I think it usually means that they're not signed on a record label, but it could mean that it just means that they weren't, like, found by, like, a talent agent, you know?
Yeah, it's like... But anyway, that was just a tangent. Something getting signed to a record label also doesn't make them sellouts or worse. Because, unless it's, like, a shitty record label, I guess. I guess if they sign to a shitty one, that's like, you will now do whatever we say. But most alternative bands, you know, have passion and care about what they're writing and creating, so they usually sign to, like, a record label that, like, Fueled by Ramen, that's like, hey, we'll, like, give you a studio and sell you CDs, and then you just do whatever the fuck you want. Is that cool? Great, good.
Sounds rad, anyway.
Sounds good. You're doing fine without us, so we'll just give you a studio.
You know this because you know for a fact that if Fueled by Ramen, like, didn't pretty much give creators free reign, half the bands we like would not be pooling the shit that they pool.
Yeah, Fueled by Ramen is, like, one that, like, they let the people create, they basically do all, like, the businessy shit, and then just let the members of the band do all the creative shit.
It's how it should be.
Yes, that's how it definitely should be. So, But I guess if they signed like a shitty one that wasn't like that, I guess that could change their music. It probably would. It definitely would.
Yeah. Also,
but none of the bands we're talking about did that. They're all signed to... Most of them are signed to Feud by Ramen, actually.
Yeah. But here's the other thing. You are allowed to think that a band's old music is better. Obviously. You don't have, like... It's not like you can still be a fan of the band and be like, I prefer their old stuff. You can be a fan of the band and not even like their new stuff at all. But being like, everything after this album was trash, and if you like it, then you're trash. It's just like, stop it. Let people enjoy things.
Yeah, if you like just don't like a band's newer stuff, that's fine. If you and you can still consider yourself a fan of them. If you're actively insulting the band's new stuff, especially if you're like doing it in like places they might see it.
Yeah, it's like if
then you're not if you trash talking a band, I feel like you are no longer a fan of that band.
Yeah, you're allowed to be like, I really like the old stuff, not a huge fan of the new stuff, but if you're like insulting them and just I've seen some people be really nasty on, like, Twitter towards SellOutBoy, and it's just like, they're gonna see that, probably. This is why Patrick Stump's not on Twitter anymore. I mean, it's like, if you're gonna, like, actively...
shit. It was like,
if you're gonna, like, actively take a huge shit on the band, these people that you're supposed to like, and the people that still like their new music, then I do not think that you should call yourself a fan of the band. Because if you mad at them and calling them names and being a huge turd muffin, then it's just like, then it seems to me that you don't like them. So you're not a fan. Sorry. Please leave.
If you just like the old stuff better or aren't a fan of the new stuff, but you're being chill about it, then you can stay. You can stay.
Yeah, you guys
you chill.
If you respect the band and the fans of the band, even if you don't like what they're doing right now, then you're fine. But if you're gonna be really nasty about it, then
leave.
Just leave. Because it's like, if you hate...
off.
If you acting like you hate them, so you're not a fan of them, they don't care if you leave, and neither does the fandom. We're better off without you. Farewell. At me about it.
Fight us about it.
Yeah. And then, I gotta go through and look at these real fast. Okay,
It particularly annoyed me with Walk the Moon's, like, new stuff when people are like, they're just selling out and going mainstream, because the band literally said in, like, at multiple points that they were being more themselves than they ever had been before.
Yeah, they were dwelling less upon their influences, and they were also making the music to basically remind everyone that they're not a pop band and to scare off people that think they're a pop band.
Yeah, they kind of got a little annoyed when they started first to populate.
Yeah, they were kind of like,
who are you people?
What are you here?
What do you want from us?
But, because they, got a little more produced, because they used a little more synthesizer, got a little more produced, so they had to, like, take on another guy to tour with them, because they can't play all the instruments that they layered onto the song, which is for people. Obviously, that means they're a pop band, and they suck now.
Are there even any pop bands? I think I can think of, like, one band that's, like...
Which one?
Fifth Harmony. That's the only pop artist.
Are they like a band? Or are they like a singing group?
I think they're a band in the way a boy band is a band, as in they're all singers and that's it, that's all they do. Actually, the people in a lot of boy bands can do other things, they just don't, for some reason.
Now that you mention it, I really can't think of, like, any, like, bands that are, like,
there were tons of
pop
bands that, will, for some reason, compromised entirely of singers, and then they kind of, like, died off.
Yeah, people don't really do that, like, and, like,
I think
in the 90s and, like, early 2000s, that was a thing, like, you know, there was, like, Destiny's Child and, like, NSYNC and, like, One Direction and stuff.
One Direction was later.
Yeah, I skipped, like, a decade in between those, but, like, and now it's just, like, now there's just, like, Beyonce and, like, Justin Timberlake and whatever the people from One Direction are doing.
I think all of them went solo. I think they're all still around, just not as One Direction.
Yeah, it's like they don't really
See, that's what I was thinking of when I was
anymore.
like, they're all singers, and I was like, wait, no. They can all play, all the people of One Direction can play the guitar. But they didn't when they were in One Direction. I think
they might have, but they didn't. I don't think they did when they were on stage. I'm not an expert on One Direction, so
Never
like,
was
don't
really
at
a
me
fan.
about
They
it.
were pretty good, though.
Yeah, they were pretty alright. I remember in middle school I hated them. That was the same reason why I hated Justin Bieber when I was in elementary school, which I was just like, I'm not like other girls. I don't like One Direction. Which, we've talked about this in another podcast in a fictional sense, but if you're like, I'm not like other girls, you definitely need to, like, calm down. Chillax.
Relax. Yeah, I always kind of did like One Direction, though. Just a little bit. Like, as
I
far
like
as, like,
some of their songs,
as,
yeah.
like, yeah, like, we got off track. We got way off track.
Anyway.
Yeah, but still, I think just being, like, a band with, like, guitars and, like, a drummer is, like, a very not pop thing. Like, I can't think of a single pop band that has, like, a guitarist.
Yeah.
And, like, a bassist.
Yeah.
Like, I can only think of a few pop bands, and they're all just, here's 4 singers. Take them. Take them all.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do.
You know, that's how it be sometimes. I have, like, 2 more talking points until we move on to specifically the other half of this podcast.
We didn't time this. We could just be talking for, like, 7 hours.
You can pull it up on Audacity.
Oh, yeah.
How long has this been going on? Like 27 minutes. We got time.
Yeet.
But yeah, I've got a couple more talking points, then we're gonna move on to specifically alternative fans being like, fake fan! But, there were a lot of alternative fans that just take a massive dump on... We kind of already discussed this. Like, and I've noticed it particularly in the 21 Pilots and Panic at the Disco fandoms, but there are some people that just straight up just hate people in the band.
Yeah.
That's even more so specific with Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, I've never seen that with
a
21.
solid quarter of Panic at the Disco fans hate Brendan Urie.
Who is? If you're not very familiar with Panic at the Disco, at this point in Panic at the Disco's, like, 14-year lifespan, Brendan Urie is Panic at the Disco. He is the only one. He's all that's left.
He has other people with him in the touring band, but yeah. He is Panic at the Disco, but there was, like,
Essentially,
an active,
basically.
like, 25% of the fandom who are, like, hardcore Ryan stans, and because Ryan
I'm pretty
left
sure that
the band...
25% of the fandom just hates everyone except Ryan Ross.
Pretty much, but
And
specifically
listen,
they
if you-
hardcore hate Brendan, and it's like, calm yourself.
Listen, if the only person in a band that you like... If you consider yourself a fan of a band, but you hate everyone in the band except someone who left the band 10 years ago, you're probably not a fan of that band anymore.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's like you say that you love this band and you love the music, but then you actively are like, if I saw Brendan Urie on the streets, I would murder him with my bare hands. And it's just like, whoa there.
Calm down, you fuck.
And it's like, and then this, I see it a lot with Panic, but then this part I see a lot with 21 Pilots as well. There are a lot of people who are, like, in the fandom and who will accuse them of, like, problematic shit that they didn't do.
I don't think those people are in the fandom. I think
I've
they're
seen
just
some of
in
them.
the tags
I've seen
of the
some
fandom,
of them, though,
being
who
like those
who
little
are,
shits
like,
for no reason.
It's like, it's one thing to maybe, like, recognize... It's one thing to recognize that the people in the band you like are not perfect, they are humans, but then there are people who are like, 21 Pilots, they're homophobic because they don't actively, like, sing songs about not being homophobic, and it's like, that's not what they want to talk about. That doesn't mean that they hate gay people because they're not like Brendan Urie who like sprints across the stage in a pride flag, which is great, by the way. It's because their songs are focused on like inner turmoil and depression and like mental health issues and not homophobia, which like, is fine.
I feel like there's too much of this thing just on the internet in general that if you're not like fighting tooth and nail to fix an issue. Yeah, I think it came from that whole idea that if you, like, passive in an issue, you're, like, part of the problem of creating it, which is kind of dumb, honestly, because it's, like...
I think it depends. I think that's a solid argument in many aspects,
it's like,
but also, like, not.
You should... It depends on the situation, and it's, like, you should support issues and stand up for them, but I think it's turned into this thing where if you're not fighting tooth and nail to fix an issue, then it's like, well, you must be totally against it. Like, if you're not fighting tooth and nail to fix racism, then you're racist. It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I'm
sorry, that's just not
it works in some things and it doesn't. Like, you know, if you're like, if you're one of those people who are like a centrist and you're like, in order to have a tolerant society, we have to tolerate the Nazis, then it's like, no. Then it's like, okay... Then that makes sense, but the argument that because these two people aren't, like, using their platform to specifically talk about homophobia, then that means they're homophobic, it doesn't make sense, because just because they don't sing about it doesn't mean that they don't, as individuals, fully support the community. It doesn't mean that they don't, like, vote to fix these issues. It doesn't mean that if they saw someone, like, harassing a gay person in the street, they wouldn't be like, hey, knock it off, fucker. It's like, just because they don't sing about it doesn't mean that agree, that doesn't mean that they're, like, on the, like, that they don't support it, you know?
I think the difference, just in general, lies in if you're not doing much to fix an issue because you don't care, or you're not doing much to fix an issue because you do care, but it's
not what you're focusing on.
It's not what you're focusing on, or you're not in, like, a position to do much about it anyway, or whatever. It's like, just because someone isn't actively screaming on, like, the roof that they hate, that they're, like, for or against something doesn't mean the opposite.
Yeah, and then it's also, like, it's like there are a lot of people who, like, just accuse bands, like, there are a lot of alternative people, like, music fans who either hate members of the band or just, like, accuse them of doing stuff that they didn't do for, like, no reason. And it's like, take a nap, calm down.
Fucking away with it, even though literally it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Never get on Tumblr.
Basically, if someone says that someone you like is problematic, check into it yourself, but, like, don't automatically be like, gotta, like, burn everything I own from them, because, especially if it's on Tumblr, because there's a solid chance that they're making something out of nothing.
Literally one time on Tumblr, this is when I was, like, I was, like, trying to use Tumblr less, because it was just, because there's a lot of irritating people on that site. This was, like, the straw that made me, like, I'm never getting on this godforsaken website ever again. I saw a post accusing 21 Pilots of being ableist against mental disorders that they have.
I remember you it was just like they're ableist against people with anxiety and, like, depression and schizophrenia. And it's just like, do you know? It's like it's like Josh has anxiety. Tyler has depression and schizophrenia. He at least had it. I don't
I'm
know
not
if
sure.
he still
Is
got
like
it. But
depression like a lifelong thing, or does it like
be.
I know that it can be. I was like, is it like always lifelong, or is it like it can just be gone?
I don't know. I know that there are a lot of people who recover from it, but they might like, you know, still have like.
Yeah, like I was like, is it something
I
you
don't
like
know.
have to consistently like deal with generally, and you like might be like mostly recovered from it, but I
It
don't know.
might be like you still have it, you just don't suffer from its symptoms anymore.
Yeah, like I was
because
like,
your
is it one of
brain
those?
might still be naturally positioned to behave that way, but just because therapy or meds or whatever works.
Yeah,
for
I
you,
was
you
like,
don't have to
does
deal
that
with
like
I
is it
don't
something
know.
you have to like take like meds for you? I don't know. We're not experts.
I'm not
on meds.
educated enough on this issue to answer that question.
But the point is,
it's
you may not.
they've got these. What do you think they write all their songs about,
it's like-
Sharon?
It's like you may not personally identify or like your personal experience may not match up to the way they portray like mental illness in their songs. That doesn't make them ableist. It just means you've had different lives and perspectives and experiences.
Because
And
everyone is unique, and just because his experience with depression and your experience with depression were different doesn't mean that his is inherently problematic. It just means that
And-
representation is not universal.
Yeah. And you can maybe be irritated if people are like acting like that's like the universal thing, but that's
not the musician's
that's not
fault.
their fault. Yeah, that
Honey.
isn't their fault if that's what's happening. And it's like there are plenty of people in their fan base who do identify with the things they write about, which is actually really depressing. But it's
That's
true.
why it's a good thing that their music exists, because it can help these people.
Just because
So,
it
like,
doesn't help you
stop
doesn't
it.
mean it sucks.
It's like those people that get really pissed off about people who do like self-care Tumblr posts that are like go take a bath, have a face mask, because it's like, yeah, those things don't help everybody, but they help some people.
And they're
So
not
just
gonna
because
like cure your depression,
but it's like they can be helpful to people. So just because they don't help you, or just because it doesn't line up with what your experiences, doesn't mean that it's bad or that the person's being harmful. It just means they're trying to help and it didn't work for you, so you should just move on and try something else. Calm down, take a nap.
Anyway.
Have a bubble bath, put on a face mask.
use those tips to take care of your anger, son.
One little thing before we move on to the fake tan thing, which is kind of like a tangent that I just thought of while we were writing down things. You are not entitled to a band's personal lives, addresses, attention, or tickets to their concerts just because you like them. A lot of alternative fans are like real pushy.
Not a lot of them. I feel
There's like
it's
a fair few though. There's enough that there's an issue where it's like
I'm pretty sure like a one is an issue though.
Jenna Joseph had to delete an Instagram post because someone leaked her and Tyler's address in the comments.
See, like with that,
People,
that's one
Brendan
person.
Urie had to move because so many people started showing up at his house. It's like, don't show up to a famous person's house. Don't do it. It's creepy. It's
them
probably
alone.
illegal. You are not entitled to, like, go to know every detail about their personal life. You are not entitled to know where they live, and you are not entitled to go up and try to talk to them just because you like them. I mean, it's go up and invade their personal space and their privacy, and then expect them to be gracious to you and give you what you want because they are a human being who is entitled to basic respect. All right, you don't get to act like they're a horrible person because they didn't want to take a picture with you or they didn't have time to talk to you. Or like there's this whole thing where it's like Brendan, when he was doing Kinky Boots, he had to stop doing autographs because how many people were being really rude and disrespecting what him and his bodyguard told them to do and were like screaming in his face, and then they were like, you don't care about your fans. It's just like, no, it's just that he's a person
with
and
anxiety.
with anxiety and his mental health, and him feeling like that he is safe in the area where he is in is more important than whether or not you get a picture with him, and all you're doing is ruining it for all the respectful fans that didn't get to meet him because you suck. Alright, just treat them like a human being who's not just some monkey for you to, like, throw around or whatever because you like them, because you like their music. They're human. Anyway.
Yeah, I would say like their music, because if you're treating a person like garbage, then I wouldn't say you like them.
Yeah. Fun facts.
Anyway.
Moving on to fake fans. Alright, here's the thing. Here's the thing about fake fans. They don't exist. They're not real. They are a figment of your pretentious imagination.
Well, technically, there could be a person who's like, yeah, I totally like that thing, and then they, like, don't at all. I guess that's usually not what people are talking about when they say fake fan, though.
They're talking about someone where you're like, hey, do you like 21 Pilots? They're like, yeah, I really like Ride and Stressed Out. And then suddenly, it's like hell has been unleashed because this fucking 14-year-old who likes 21 Pilots is so pressed that this random-ass person doesn't know every single song and doesn't know the date and time and place that Tyler Joseph was born. And it's like, honey, calm down. It's not that big of a deal.
It is a little weird to, like, say you're a fan of something when you've heard, like of a band when you've heard, like, 2 songs.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, I really like this song, but it's like, I have a Coldplay song and, like, an Imagine Dragons song on my playlist, and I really enjoy those songs. But I don't say I'm a fan of Coldplay or Imagine Dragons.
But if someone does,
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Just relax. It affects nothing.
Ooh, that's some thunder.
And I'm not saying you have to know a bunch of their songs. Like, I feel like once you know, like, a decent amount of those songs, then you're like, okay, I like all of them. That's, like, when I start considering myself a fan.
But, you know, if you like maybe you've only heard 2 songs, but you really like them and you're excited to learn more about the band, it's like, that's cool, welcome. I'll give you my recommendations. You're gonna learn today, my friend. It's like,
but if you like just like 2 songs and you have no interest in listening to more, it's a little weird that you'd consider yourself a fake fan. But also, there's a cloud outside that, from my perspective, is like perfectly outlining part of that tree.
I know which cloud you're speaking of, and it looks very different from my perspective, but I know which one. Anyway,
sorry. It's a little weird to call yourself a fan. I feel like most people
don't do that.
Yeah, I feel like most of the people, I feel like that doesn't happen much. But, you know, it's still not, even though it's a little weird, still not something worth freaking out about, my friend.
Just because you know every detail of every band member's life in a band doesn't mean someone is worse than you because they don't.
Hey, guess what? How big of a fan you are of something is measured by how much you like it, not how much you know about it.
Yeah, you not hot shit just because you know all the lyrics to every Fall Out Boy song. It's impressive because there's a lot of them, but it doesn't mean that you are the world's biggest Fall Out Boy fan and everybody who knows less than you is worthless and is like shit stuck to the bottom of your shoe. It's like, no, you're not better than them just because you know more about the band. It doesn't make you cooler. It doesn't mean that you gotta, like, flip out every time someone doesn't know that, because guess what? It's not the end of the world. It's just music. You don't have to act like they've committed a horrible crime because they don't know as much about your favorite band as you do. You should, in fact, take it as an opportunity to show them more songs. Instead of chasing people away and making people afraid to touch the band and talk about it with people because you're going to be like, fake fan, you piece of trash. It's like, welcome them into the fandom and be like, what's up, my dude? You only know 3 songs by them? Well, guess what? I have a PowerPoint presentation about every song that I like.
What's up, my dude? I heard you say that.
Anyway, I have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm gonna show you all these songs that I think you should listen to.
Do you want to link to my...
Stop it!
Do you...
Cease!
Do you want to link to my Spotify playlist of every single one of their songs?
And it's like, you want a link to my Spotify playlist? It's called I Have a Problem and it's 27 hours long. Because I have a problem.
I have a specific playlist for each of the bands I like.
Yeah.
Except IDK House. They only have like 3 songs.
Yeah. But it's like... Are you okay?
No, I think I hurt myself on that one. I still have a huge voice. I think I hurt myself on that one. Oh man, I need water.
What?
I'm really glad that our brother decided to do this on the thing that we don't edit instead
I mean,
of,
we
like...
could edit it.
We could, honestly, just deal with it, though. It's kind of funny.
You probably can't even hear him.
Yeah, we'll just be sitting in silence. That's the wrong podcast thing. It's like, you know, when I hear that one of my friends hasn't heard an album by a band or has only heard... I once knew this girl who, like, thought that Walk the Moon only had 1 song. And instead of being like, how dare you, I kind of laughed because it was funny, and I was just like, no, they got like 2 albums and some EPs, and she was just like, oh, that's cool. When I went to her house, I literally like stole her computer and was like, watch this, and then she got really hooked on it. So it's like, instead of like taking a hot steaming dump on somebody.
How many times have you said that in this podcast?
I need to stop. Because they don't know a bunch of songs by them. Show them more. And, like, be like, here you go. This one's a bop.
They're
Enjoy
all bops.
it.
Listen to all
Get
of
them obsessed. We did that with our friend. We got her hooked on SellOutBoy. She got us hooked on AJR. It's a
We
thing
still
now.
need to force her to listen to more SellOutBoy songs.
Yeah. You right.
Because she still hasn't heard a lot of them.
Yeah,
Which
there's
is
a lot.
fine.
Yeah.
Because there is a
I was
fucking lot of them.
I was surprised because she, like, hardcore stands them, so I figured she would have done what we did and, like, listened to every single one of them into the night. Because that's what I do when I like something. I go hard, but not everybody does that.
I mean, I still haven't heard all of My Chemical Romance.
Me too.
I've heard most of them at this point.
It's like, I'm like one of those people that gets really obsessive and enjoys learning every little thing about stuff like that. Like, I have a horde of useless Star Wars trivia. But it's like, if people aren't like that, that's just how I like to enjoy content. If you don't, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you or that you like it less than me.
It just means
that
you enjoy it differently.
It just means that how I enjoy it and how you enjoy it is different. And that might be weird to me at first because I'm like, what do you mean you don't just obsessively, like, learn every little thing about everything ever that you like? What? But it doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. That's just, I'm just like, I kind of forget that not everybody's like that sometimes. But, you know, that's just how it be. That's how it be. Let me see here. Oh, yes. I'm just gonna read this talking point word for word because I think I wrote it down pretty well. The whole point of, like, punk music and emo music and alternative music in general is to be different and not conform. So why the hell are you so pressed whenever someone doesn't agree with you or doesn't know everything you do, or doesn't enjoy content the same way you enjoy content?
Stop calling it content. That's
Content!
a weird word.
What the fans crave!
I hate that word so much.
Okay.
It sounds so like business, but
Right.
you can use it if you want, I guess.
Just because...
It just sounds so
doesn't-
weird. Just
You right.
content.
You right.
You can say it if you want. No, I don't care.
It's like... You're trying... It's like emo, the musical. I hate that I hate that it's like a good way of illustrating this point, but it's like
I think you might want
this
to repeat it. But
in this movie that we watched called Emo the Musical, it's like one of the main plot points was this one emo kid did certain things and didn't want to like did things that he didn't want to do and like didn't hang out with this girl that he liked because the other people in his emo band were like, that's not how emo people do things, you can't do this. And it's like, that's the opposite of what emo culture, which is such a awful phrase that I wish I didn't have to say, is about. It's about
description.
Yeah, it's about not doing what people tell you to do and not being the same as everybody else. So why are you trying to make everyone with... It's like you're so pressed about being different from other people and having bands that aren't mainstream, but then you try to cram everyone who likes the same stuff as you into very certain parameters, and it's like, why?
Especially with like punk bands, because it's like that's the exact opposite
Of what you're supposed to do. It doesn't...
which in itself sounds like parameters. Okay, it's the exact opposite of what you say you believe in.
Yeah, you're supposed to believe in, like, fighting the system and being yourself and doing what you want to do. So why do you get so heated whenever... It's like, it's the embodiment of that meme where it's like, do this. No, not like that. It's like you can't say that you subscribe to the same, like, set of, like, to the lifestyle that goes along with, like, all the, like, the alternative culture, but then you're like... But then when someone does things differently than you have a brain aneurysm. It doesn't work like that, honey. That's just not how it be. I think that's all the points that I have.
Well, we're at a solid 52 minutes.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about this for longer.
Yeah, I'm glad we combined these two topics, though.
Yeah, you're right. We were gonna make them two separate things, and then we were gonna call the one about fake fans like, hey, hi, hello, did you know that there's no such thing as a fake fan? Which, there's not.
Generally.
I mean, does that even, like, happen in real life? Like, it's like people always are like... It's like people always jump to and assume that it's like someone who doesn't know that much about certain band is a fake fan, or someone who... It's like every time one of those, like, you know... nice guys TM sees a girl that likes video games, they just automatically assume that she's lying, and it's just like you're just faking it to like fit in or whatever. It's like, no, most people don't actually do that.
Also, why would you fake it to fit in with the not mainstream people?
I don't...
Does that, like,
it
doesn't that...
happens in, like, movies or whatever, where people are like, oh,
I mean,
yeah,
sure,
that thing, I love that thing. And I mean, yeah,
I'm
sure,
sure
this
it
probably
happens. Probably not that often.
Not often, or, like, not often enough, or not in such an extreme way that whenever you see someone who doesn't fit what you stereotype people who enjoy certain content to be, or, like, someone who doesn't know everything about something, then you automatically like, wow, you're just faking it. Because it's like, no. Basically, the point of this is if you are one of those people who acts like the way that we have been describing for the past hour, just calm down, man.
Take a chill pill.
Take a nap. Drink some stress relief tea. Get off your high horse. Just let people enjoy things. Just you do you, enjoy enjoy the things you like the way that you want to enjoy them, and let other people enjoy the things they like the way they want to enjoy them. And just stop being a fucker about everything, you know? I mean, just calm down. That's pretty much all I've got to say. So, you know, if you liked this angry rant, subscribe.
Why are you like this?
Goodbye.
Bye.